Yeah, well, there isn't a single Protestant denomination which hasn't basically bought into the whole Alexandrian text type song and dance. But the thing about this theory about the Alexandrian text types is I can't find them anywhere. Because Westcott and Hort had to invent another conspiracy theory about where did the Byzantine majority text come from. Okay, there was a mysterious redactor called a guy no one's ever heard of and no one can find, a redactor who is responsible for taking what was then the Alexandrian text and turning it into the Byzantine majority text. The Lucian recension, it's called, which is a theory, which sort of resembles the known fact that Saint Jerome in the 4th century did actually publish an edition of, he actually edited the Old Latin and retranslated some parts and made the Vulgate, the Latin Vulgate. But if you look closely and compare the Old Latin to the Vulgate, you will notice basically Saint Jerome's Vulgate is in effect an edition of, it's not really a new translation from the Greek and the Hebrew into Latin, which is claimed. It was more of just of an addition. He edited and corrected the Old Latin and published his own version, which became the Vulgate. Now, the thing is, if you want to keep this conspiracy theory about the Alexandrian text being edited over and disappearing at the hands of the Orthodox, the secret Orthodox conspiracy, you have to propose a Lucian in the case of the Greek text. And as far as the Syriac's concerned, the Syriac churches, you have to propose another guy. Like you blame Ephraim the Syrian or something for basically inventing the Peshitta, because you cannot find evidence of the Alexandrian text types anywhere. I mean, I've looked. I mean, you look for an Alexandrian reading of famous passage, and it's not there. It's not in the Peshitta, it's not in the Old Latin, it's not in the Byzantine majority text. It's not, you can't find it in the Anglo-Saxon. The Gothic, for example, they're not there. This idea that the Alexandrian text types were this sort of original prototype, which was a kind of a basis of an re-edited version, it falls apart because you cannot find evidence of its existence anywhere else except in these funny codices of dubious provenance. But over the past 100 years they've been finding more of them, like the Chester Beatty Papyrus, but again, they're from Egypt, they're from Muslim countries, and there's this giant fake factory in Egypt and Turkey, where and anyway, one of the if you proposed a theory that Alexandrian text types were as a rule just fakes from the Middle Ages far and down to our time, then it explains a great deal of the text types. That is to say, why they are missing certain pieces. They are missing 1 John 5:7 because the Muslim governments wanted to excise those bits from Christian Bibles that talk about the divinity of Christ, the Trinity. Now this is the exact same methodology of the Arian bishops in the Byzantine Church in the, say, the 5th and 5th centuries AD. And it's the method of the Gnostics, the earlier Gnostics, of chopping out bits of the New Testament they didn't like. Now this has been going on for centuries, but it's interesting to note that things like 1 John 5:7 are missing, and if you suppose that the Alexandrian text types were missing pieces because of political interference from Muslim governments, it's very interesting because, for example, the woman caught in adultery. Now, the woman caught in adultery, the pericope adulterae, is it's not missing from the Old Latin. It's there. It's in the Old Latin. It's in the Vulgate. It's in the Byzantine majority text. It's in the Peshitta. It's there. It's so there you can't ignore it. But if you read like internet sites on textual criticism, they will swear black and blue that it's not present in the oldest and most reliable fragments and that sort of thing. But there's more to that. For example, Alexandrinus is missing the story of the woman in adultery, but Alexandrinus is missing those pages. The pages have been torn out. And yeah, so many codices of Mark's Gospel, so many manuscripts of Mark's Gospel are missing the back because the back page has been ripped off, or it's just got worn out or fallen off or something. But I mean, it's interesting to note that the woman caught in adultery would has been suppressed not from early years because but simply by Muslims because it contradicts Islamic legal practice, where in Islamic legal practice stoning a woman to death for adultery is lawful, but the testimony of women has no weight in court. I mean, the pericope adultery is this fairly sad and sorry tale of this people trying to get a woman stoned in this kangaroo court, and Jesus not letting them do it. But yeah, I mean, there's a great deal of things. I mean, for example, John 9:53, the man born blind, Jesus says to him, "Do you believe in the Son of God?" And the blind man says, "Well, who is he that I may believe in him?" But in the Alexandrian text types, you see, and the RSB, NASB, all those, you can see them, they're all on the internet. They all say, "Do you believe in the Son of Man?" Now, the Son of Man is not, the Son of God is, Jesus is the Son of God is controversial to a Muslim, but it's not, calling him the Son of Man is insipid and unoffensive to a Muslim. So, were all the Alexandrian text sites actually late or forgeries? doctored to agree with Islam. Yeah, I've seen a version. A Roman Catholic scholar was from the 19th century was saying that the great codices, the great uncials like SIniaticus and everything, were used to be attributed to the 7th century, in the 19th century. But now, but over the whopping work of history, they've now been attributed to the 4th or the 3rd or the 4th or 5th centuries, based on the handwriting. But this brings us to, well, the who can you trust?